Thanks for showing up tonight. Thanks for coming out. We started this to basically have the conversations that I get to have on a daily basis with some of my friends. And I wanted everybody else to be able to have these conversations. Intimate, quiet, personal. So I feel like I do a lot of things in my life all the time that keep me busy. And there's really only one person that I know that does more than that. And it's Chris Williams, ladies and gentlemen. Come on out, bud.
Nice. Appreciate the intro, brother.
Thank you. I literally had to write down all the questions because you do so much stuff.
Yeah.
It makes my head spin.
Same here. Yeah, same here.
Thanks for being here.
No, I appreciate the intro and appreciate the opportunity, man.
No, this is really, thank you all for being here again. It means the world to me because, it's always the questions of why, right? And I don't think we ever get to answer those as much. And people get to see you in the restaurant, the dining room, or the grocery store, wherever, but nobody really ever gets to talk with you.
Yeah.
Just in general, as far as like chefs and restaurateurs. And so being able to sit out here tonight, I get to learn a lot because we've known each other for a few years, but it's always been on a business sense as well. Friendship, but business as well. But I got stuff I want to know.
Okay, well, let's get into it. Let's get into it. And you've had a great lineup so far. So, it really is an honor to be a part of this. I think it's a great concept.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry for those of you who had tickets for the original show. We just needed to do that. We needed to reschedule. And I hate that we had to cancel the last show with Aaron Bludorn, but we'll put something else on the books. I got the vid. I didn't want to get anybody else the vid. Cool? I feel like that was a good answer. I don't want to show up and be like, hey, what's up? How you feeling? No dice. Right. That would have sucked. So just let's wrap some things up real quick.
Okay.
Where are you from? You from here?
Yeah,
Born and raised?
Southwest side. Southwest side.
Yeah.
Fondren and West Airport. Did somebody? Who? Okay. All right. We made it. We made it out. Yeah. Born and raised Southwest side. Parents who are here. They're still over there. Yeah.
I always feel like no matter who else shows to this, like your folks, my folks are here, our folks are here.
Yeah.
Our wives, family covered.
That's it. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. And that's where the pressure comes from too.
It does.
Yeah, it's not everybody else, it's them.
No, it's always been that pressure, right? Is the family.
Yeah.
Are you doing it right? I don't know. Did I make my mom and dad happy? Okay, yes, then I did.
Well, but when we first opened up Lucille's, there goes my lovely partner over there. When I opened up Lucille's, I didn't really have a manager there, so I'm learning how to cook, how to teach people, how to do these recipes that are in my mind and run the front of the house. And so one day my mom comes in, and I see that apparently she ordered a Sprite because the server who I trained brought her a can of Sprite, and he did not open it for her. It looked to me like it was room temperature.
How'd that fly?
Well, that's what I'm getting to. So she opened up that Sprite with her beautiful nails, Somehow she cracked that thing open, put a straw into it, takes a sip, and just swoons. I just see her she's like, oh my God. And so I come out, I was like, hey, Mom, I will never believe anything you ever say to me again. You're over here swooning over a hot Sprite. And it's the best thing that you've ever had. I can't trust anything that you say now.
So it does fall true that you can pretty much do nothing wrong in your mom's eyes, because that's the same here. Yeah.
It took a long time to get there. It was the opposite for the longest. Yeah.
Growing up, it's going to be a pain in the ass, but later on.
I think that was my nickname.
Pain in the ass.
Yeah.
What got you into cooking? What got you into restaurants? What gave you the bug? What made you want to do it?
I've always had a passion for food.
Yeah.
Always.
Family driven by that, or
yeah,
just
family. So my dad here was the chef. of the house. My mom, we always thought she was the worst cook on the planet. It turns out she's just a brilliant woman.
Okay.
She's brilliant. You act like you don't know how to do something, so nobody asks you to do it. But now for the last, 5 years, like mom's back there throwing down, like she's had this skill all this time.
It didn't just happen.
Yeah, it didn't just happen. Like she's had it, just kept it quietly, and let Dad do it. So, but at any rate, he's an amazing chef, and he worked for my great grandmother, who's the namesake of the restaurant, over at Camp Waldemar, that she ran for I think 40 years, which is one of her many things that she had going on. And so I fell in love with good food back then with him, and then I remember cooking with his mother. And those are just some of the most romantic memories that I have. You know what I mean? Like the sun's brighter, and we're sitting there snapping peas and talking about nothing. And so I loved it back then. And then my first job was in Chili's.
Nice.
Yeah. And
I worked at Steak and Ale. So.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
First job in Houston, Steak and Ale.
They're not still around, are they?
Oh, come on, I moved here so long ago.
Yeah, but I mean, Steak and L's gone, right?
I believe, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there might be a couple somewhere in the country, but I don't.
Yeah.
Not on a grand scale like the one in the Galleria when I worked there. Yeah.
Right.
I didn't last long.
How long did you last?
Oh, it was like when I first started culinary school, and so you go through safety and sanitation as like your first class.
Right.
And then I got there, and I was like, oh my God, I was like. Because I grew up in Tulsa, and so like Steak and Ale was like, that was fancy night.
Really?
Yeah, prom, whatever, man. Like birthdays, yeah. Red Lobster, Steak and Ale. I mean,
Yeah,
again,
Red Lobster, yeah.
It's my generation of that age, right? And then I got into Steak and Ale, and I think I made it through the training videos.
Okay.
And then maybe 2 or 3 shifts, and I was like, ooh, this may not be for me.
What position?
I was just working on the grill, but
okay.
yeah, just the amount of raw hand meat plating thing. Oof.
Yeah.
So yeah, then I went and worked at Houston Country Club instead. So
okay.
It changed,
Yeah, yeah, that's quite the jump.
It changed.
Yeah. Now I was at Chili's for 2 months.
Yeah.
Started off as a server, and like I could sell. I loved it. Like I loved the chaos, the dynamic and the immediate gratitude from the business. Like it's just, it was just my jam.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was fired after 2 months, and then transitioned into Boudreaux's.
Okay.
Then that was it. That was the only. That's all I've done is
Really?
restaurants since then. Yeah.
And it hit you, and you just kept going.
Fell in love with it. At first, it was front of the house. Started as a server, and I love like the limited interactions with people. Like I'm great in 3-minute increments.
Yeah.
So this is an hour and a half.
We're outside of the boundaries.
So now it's all downhill. It's all downhill.
Mark the time. We already made it 3 minutes. We're pretty screwed at this point.
But
Woo, buddy.
But yes, I fell in love with that, and then I started getting curious about the back of the house, and I guess school was never my thing. You know what I mean? Like I went to every one of them.
Yeah.
5 different high schools, and I don't know how many colleges I asked y'all to pay for and try, but went to a bunch of them and didn't dig it, and then finally decided, okay, let's just go to culinary school. Wasn't impressed with that. Like I always say, tell people that we were mutually unimpressed with each other. I think that's the sanitation class, the only one that I had 100% attendance for.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of that, I was just kind of, I'd visit the campus from time to time. Sorry, Dad. It worked out. It worked out.
In the long run.
Yeah, it worked out, but yeah.
It paid itself off.
Yeah, but I just started moving towards the back, and I fell in love with it, and that teamwork that happens back there, and it's like the kitchen. And this is something I figured out way back then, because even over at Chili's, like my first spot, you step into the kitchen, English was that language is the minority. Like it's everything else happening back there. But we're all speaking the same language. And so I realized then, like I could take this and go anywhere in the world and always be in demand. So yeah, that's what got me hooked. Chili's.
I can't argue with that. Mine was washing dishes in a sushi bar in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I get that. Scrubbing eel sauce pots and peeling shrimp, baby.
Yeah, humble beginnings.
Yeah, it was awesome. I did that for way too long, way longer than 2 months.
I may still be doing it sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that's where, you find that, for me, it wasn't going to, I may be, it's been a long time now, so I probably can't claim this anymore, but I may be one of the only people that was asked not to come back to Tulsa Junior College.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I played it the same way you did culinary school. It's like,
Yeah.
I go in and sit, and I was like, oh, man, ping pong sounds like fun. Yeah. And then just get up and leave.
Right.
And we talked about it earlier, like that was my first computer class.
Oh, it was over there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
MS-DOS, 1993. Last time I've ever really turned a computer on, let's be pretty honest.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I kind of choose to be like Kang, who's not here, who announced that he would not come. He's kind of like my partner with Cleve over here. We've been together for, 15, 17 years.
Yeah.
And so he's like, has everybody seen Goonies?
Yeah, of course.
All right, so he's like Data. So. He's Data. And he just happens to be Vietnamese, but he's also Data. He gets all the information. So I'm deliberately ignorant. I don't mess with the POSs. I don't really use the computers. The only computer class that I took, as I was telling you earlier, it involved Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
And Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? That was the last computer class that I had. Yeah.
Like I said, I bought one, and then I gave it away.
Right.
I opened it, and I was like, I put my name in here. Lindsay, how do you do this?
Yeah.
And she's like, oof. And I was just like, it's just, go away. I don't ever want to see it again. So, be good at what you're good at.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right? And
Other people are good at that stuff, and you can work with them. Yeah.
Be good to be around. It's all right.
Yeah.
So you got into restaurants at Chili's, and then you went to Boudreaux's, and then what sparked that to go where what set you on that path, right? What said to you, shit, you know what? I think I'd open a restaurant.
Man.
And when did you do that? What made you? What restaurant pushed you to the point to say I need to do this for myself? Mm-hmm. And when was that?
It was actually, so I worked in Europe for 4 years.
Okay.
And bounced
See, that's
all
why
over.
we do these conversations. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I was bouncing all over from London to Lithuania, all points in between, working in different kitchens, and it proved that theory that I had that I could be anywhere in the world. I don't have to speak the language because I can burn, and if you can burn, you can cuss in whatever language you're at, then you're good. You can survive, and so I did that, picked up a lot, and then came home. Tried to come home. I got stuck in Canada for 2 years. As one does. And then
I figured we'd get to that in a minute because I'm really confused on how you got. How did you get stuck? Snow?
So, the lack of dough.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was coming from, I think I flew over from Hamburg in Germany, and there's three of us, it's 3 boys. My oldest brother sent me some money to help me get the flight.
Okay.
He purchased the flight. And he's cheap. He's frugal is the word.
That's a good word.
Yeah, he's frugal. But so he's tight.
So he went down all 3 aspects of
that. And so, but he's like, listen, man, this is the way he talks. He's like, listen, man, I'll get you a ticket, but bro, I'm just gonna get you to this side of the Atlantic.
So Canada it is.
Yes. And I was like, well, there's a spot, Halifax, Nova Scotia. It's the cheapest flight. It's on the right side of the water. So if I get there, then I'll, work my way back to D.C. and I'll be fine. He's like, yeah, okay, Halifax. So he gets the ticket. You get over to Halifax, and I had 30-something euros left, and converted to Canadian dollars. It wasn't much. I went and bought
$22.
Yeah, about.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that. It was 32. And I went and get a lemonade and a pack of cigarettes.
So you're 16 now.
Yeah, that was like $18. I was like, how much is this fucking lemonade?
That was the concern.
Yeah. The cigarettes are worth it. But, you know, they're
I
like,
started drinking water. You guys got lemons?
yeah, but it was $18 or no, $17 for the cigarettes. And so I was like, okay, we got to get out of here.
Got to go.
And so I ended up finding this hostel late night, and they let me in with no money. You know, told them that I'd be there for a week. My plan was to be there for 2 days and ghost them, honestly.
Yeah.
Should have read the room before I said that. It's okay. Yeah. But so
I don't think anybody hears. Like,
yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I ended up, the person who owned the hostel was trying to build a restaurant, trying to build a cafe in the front.
Yeah.
And so I got wind of that, and I was like, okay, well, I can help you with that. You know, I had a little bit of experience by that point. You know, I already did culinary school and did 4 years of working all over Europe. And so I started helping her build the catering business and that. And so it turned into me living in that hostel for 6 months, getting a job in downtown Halifax and as the executive sous chef, and I was completely illegal. Like, I didn't have documentation the entire time. I didn't have it through Europe. I didn't have it through Canada. Everywhere I went, I was only supposed to be there for a few days.
Oh, yeah.
And it turned into a longer,
Shift
trip. Yeah. Yeah.
Shift pay.
Yeah.
You were here how long today? Okay.
Yeah. So that's in a nutshell. That's why I was in Canada for so long. And then I met the mother of my 2 sons, and now my sons are still there. They're in Canada. So that's why we opened up the restaurant for them, Mills Black Point Bistro.
In Halifax.
Yeah, just in a suburb of Halifax.
So you have it's on the list to get to, but we're going to go ahead and get there.
Yeah, we can jump around.
Yeah, because you opened a restaurant in Halifax.
Yeah, I opened up a restaurant in Halifax. Yeah.
As one does.
As one does, yeah.
After coming over $32 and years later, you decided to do this.
Yeah. So
For the boys?
It's for the boys.
Yeah. They like it?
No.
Okay.
No, they don't. And I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a lot of stuff. Like I have these really romantic ideas on how things are going to work out. And I'm like, yeah, no, because the intention's so good.
Yeah.
They'll get behind this. And it took 4 years to open the place up because I'm trying to build it and design it through the pandemic. I can't really get access to it, so it's all over the phone. And so now they're 14 and 15 and just old enough to tell me,
So this is a new project as of, it opened how long ago? 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
3 years ago, did it?
3.
Yeah.
See, that's why it's intimate.
Yeah.
He's like, this is intimate. I was like, yeah, people can just talk. It's fine.
Yeah. It's coming. Yeah, coming up. It's coming up on its 3rd season. Yeah. So.
And they have not yet found the restaurant bug.
No, and I mean, let me use something that Vanessa says all the time. But God willing, I hope they don't.
Yeah.
Like it's a nasty business. Mm-hmm. Like it takes everything.
Yeah.
So no, I hope they're smarter than us.
Yeah.
You don't. Like,
so when we all sit and ponder for a second, like,
yeah. You have a daughter, right?
No kids.
No kids?
No, 2 cats.
2 cats.
Two
but
cats.
You speak so lovingly about them. That's why I thought you had.
Yeah. Our friend said.
Okay.
He's like, I have 3 kids, and you show way more photos and talk about your cats to people than I ever will with my kids. And I was like,
yeah.
They're good. I mean, Beans and Rosie, man. Come on, they're awesome.
Okay. But yeah, so I opened it with that because Canada's like, it's a lovely, like, we're on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Where all the beautiful oysters come from.
Mm-hmm.
Nova Scotia, and PEI and all that, New Brunswick. But it's a beautiful, beautiful, picturesque kind of place. And people are very nice. But quite frankly, like, there's no opportunities for people of color. Yeah. Like when I was out there for 2 years, I was stuck there. And I saw 0 Afro-Canadian execs, nobody working downtown. I wasn't doing, menial labor.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, my sons are here. If nothing else, they need to learn how to yell at some people. You know what I mean? Like let them see how to lead and own something and just and see what ownership looks like to make it tangible. But I just didn't think about, the timeline that I would open this up. They're right at the age where they have no interest in doing anything.
Well, how old are they again?
They're 14 and 15.
Yeah, there's no.
Yeah.
I want to play video games and like.
Yeah, if you don't have to do it.
Do nothing.
Yeah, nothing. is what's the preferred option.
Yeah.
But you know,
Because,
I think
I mean, even when I was 16, 17, I was like, I don't want to get a job.
yeah.
And that was way back then. I mean, I don't know, 18, I think is when it was. But
Yeah, but we'll get them. We'll get them there. I mean, like at some point they're going to need a car, and that's when they'll have to come through me.
that's when you get to work.
Right.
You want a car? Get to work.
Yeah, yeah.
Guess what? Well, I can't find a. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get them in there at some point.
I mean, that's as you say, like that's forward thinking and very good for, you know, their future if they really love it. If nothing less, like maybe they don't want to cook, but maybe they just want to run it, you know.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, think about our business. Like there is nothing that explains, it gives you more insight into people than restaurants. Because restaurants, everything happens there. You mourn, you celebrate, you cry, you know, you laugh.
Yeah.
Like you see people, you complain, you show your worst self in restaurants. Like imagine what we get to experience on a daily, which really humanizes everybody. Like it levels the playing ground. Like you don't see anybody. It's like, okay, this guy's special. This guy's paid, or this guy's whatever. No, this guy's a clown.
Yeah.
Because he's acting like a fool. Man, we're all fools. Ultimately, is what restaurants show you. So I mean, it should be like a good confidence builder. Is what my theory is. You know what I mean?
I mean, all things point to yes. It's just if they want to be there.
Yeah.
Or if not, you know what? I feel like that would, me personally, that the intention to that is probably very true and very correct for them, and they will at one point see that.
They'll see it, and that's all you can ask for. We can't force anybody to do anything.
No.
You know, we can just show them.
Because then they just hate doing it.
Yeah. So I mean, our job is just to show them as much as we can.
Yeah.
And so I didn't necessarily have to go and open up a whole restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, there's a different way about that.
Yeah,
for sure,
it's other
but,
ways
like,
to do it, but you know, here we are.
I mean, how many seats? How big is it?
It is. It seats probably 30 on the inside, another 30 outside.
So not giant. Not big.
No,
by any means.
it's what I always wanted. It's a small, little, cute Canadian restaurant with a banging oyster program, and we named it a Mills Black Point Bistro because everything that we do, like all of our restaurants, it has some kind of historical component to it. And so when we were looking to open up in Canada, you know, at the time that we should have opened, the last thing that they would want is some American asshole coming out there teaching them how to cook. Like that's the last thing they wanted.
Yeah.
So the patriarch of the family that's owned the building for the past 45 years, and this is a Lebanese math professor who taught himself how to be a butcher. You would love this cat, actually. But he taught himself how to be a butcher, and then he created this business, and then it went from being a meat market to being a general store that had everything from, the meat to full-service restaurant to groceries to you could rent U-Hauls to you could rent porn. You could do anything that you wanted. Like it was a true
and the
Lebanese.
U-Haul if you need to.
Yeah. It's a true, hard-working immigrant family. It's just like, hey, whatever they need, I will provide. And so, his name is Emil, and we thought, well, let's celebrate that family story because now they're a staple. Like they're a part of that community, and so. That's why we named it after him, and to pay homage, we wanted to have Lebanese influences. So it's Nova Scotian ingredients with Lebanese influences, the menu.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, in theory. No, it actually is awesome.
It's a restaurant, so it's always in theory.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's I went over to a restaurant in theory.
Yeah, but it's actually a great spot. It's a really cool little restaurant. I'm proud.
I mean,
of
that's amazing that you had that thought to do that for these guys, and for your kids, and like.
Yeah.
I think they will, but you know what? I've never met them, so I don't know.
Yeah. They'll I mean.
At 13, 14.
14, 15. Now, they'll have to come my way.
Yeah.
They'll have to come my way at some point. We'll get them there.
How the hell that's another question. We'll be here all night if I ask that question.
Okay.
How the hell do you open a restaurant in Canada? Like, paperwork
Did I mention that I was undocumented throughout Europe? And,
yeah. Like, how does that work out?
There's a way.
Okay.
There's always a way.
That's probably something
to do it legally.
I want to talk about. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Dad cooks. Tell me about, can we go into the history of your family food?
Sure.
And then we can get into Lucille's and why you decided to open that?
Yeah.
So your dad, your grandmother?
Great-grandmother.
Great-grandmother.
Yeah. Great-grandmother is Lucille. She's just a historical, American-like figure. just beyond culinary and what our contributions are. But
Yeah.
from the culinary side, she was known for the hot rolls, and the nation's first instant hot roll mix that Pillsbury stole her recipe to build Pillsbury. And this is verified by the Chicago Tribune in 2014, so this is truth. But that was just one of the things that she did. She authored the first commercial culinary educational program over at PV, authored all the text, led the classes, ran Camp Waldemar, which is still in existence, and it's like an elite girls camp, I guess. Authored a cookbook. I think she had 3 editions. And, she's just a trailblazer, trendsetter, community activist. She's just all of that. And then at Camp Waldemar, all of the kids, so my parents, they grew up in Brenham, Texas,
Yeah.
Bluebell ice cream.
Yep.
And so everybody from the family had to go work with Lucille's, and great-granddaddy ran the kitchen too, right? So they had to go work under them on their summers. Everybody except for my mother. Told you she's smart.
She's laughing right now.
The woman is smart. Okay? But so everybody had to work over there, and Dad ended up being one of the leads, and he kept, he went to college, and then he went and served in the war, in the Vietnam War, Silver Star, war hero, and but he's always kept that cooking gene with him, even as been practicing criminal defense attorney for the past 45 years, I think. But he's always could burn, and so we go out to good restaurants. I don't think Steak and Ale was on our list. But,
It's a shame.
Yeah, I think
Because the Kensington Club was fantastic.
but we did have a little Red Lobster from time to time.
All right. But did you get the non-alcoholic fruit punch in the ceramic lighthouse? That was my birthday present every year.
Yeah, I remember that.
I could get the fried shrimp and we had those at the house. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for holding on to that for
I
me.
remember that. Yeah, we did get that.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Y'all were doing it big.
Ooh.
But so Dad, we'd
Cheddar
go
biscuits.
out and we'd have some fantastic meal, and then 2 weeks later, Dad's reproducing it at home. There it is. He's just bringing it back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I've always, we cooked for ourselves a lot as kids, but I've just loved it. Food for me has always been everything.
Front and center.
Yeah, always. And so you want me to take how that
Let's go to Lucille's, baby.
how we came to Lucille's?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take a drink of this delicious Cosmo.
So he's bringing Cosmos back.
You know what? I don't really like him that much, but whatever. If the espresso martini can make a comeback, so can a Cosmo. Let's go. Swamp these bartenders when we go on break with Cosmos.
That'll be fun,
It's
actually.
refreshing.
That'll be fun. When I was coming back from Europe, I worked in D.C. for a little bit.
Okay.
And I got my first executive chef position, 27. Lasted 4 months.
Yeah, that early chef position never really lasts too long.
Yeah, I had no business being there. I was looking at my first menu, and this thing had everything from Lithuanian dumplings on it to Carolina shrimp and grits to all types of just nonsense.
Pew, 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 pew,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
go.
like they're like, hey, you got to write 14 menus in the first month that you're here. I was like, okay. So I just pulled out everything that I tasted through Europe and everything that I thought was hot in DC. But at any rate, I knew that I could do it, and so when I came, I got fired from there. And DC is a big city, but it's a small town.
Yeah, it is.
And that community is like tight.
Yeah.
And so people heard about this crazy rise. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Like, where is he from, and how does he get this position over one of the largest hotels out here? And then they were waiting for the fall. It happened, and then the work was like, yeah, you want to peel some potatoes? We're doing it at $7 an hour. Let's go. And I was like, yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So we came to Houston, and I worked with Gatsby.
A lot of people did.
A lot of people react that way too.
Does anybody remember Gatsby's? There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two.
And
I
they're
mean, it
writers.
was back in the day. It was a thing.
And so, I mean, I tell you what, that's where I met Cleve, who's our designer and does all of our branding and everything, and King. I met them both over at Gatsby. And the cat is a brilliant chef.
Absolutely.
And he's a brilliant chef. And so we
leave it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long did you stay there?
I stayed there about 6 months.
Yeah.
And mind you, I've never worked anywhere for longer than maybe 9 months.
Yeah.
And so then I get to Max's. I leave there. I go to Max's Wine Dive.
Really?
Oh, no, I go to H-E-B.
Okay.
I was one of those guys cutting your meat.
Nice.
Yeah, and with the little hair net and all that.
I like that.
Yeah, learned a lot. I learned a lot.
Cutting meat is a skill.
Yeah, and making those little prepackaged salads, I got that whole operation. All this kind of stuff,
But it all helped you, we'll get to where it went to.
Yeah, it prepared me for doing these meals and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff played a part. But at any rate, go over to Max's Wine Dive, and I was speaking with my brother, the middle brother. So the oldest one is the guy who bought me the ticket, and he's the founder and executive director of Step Africa, which is one of DC's oldest. You guys are nice. It's one of DC's oldest African-American arts foundations.
Yep.
Nonprofits. Then there's Ben. Ben's the owner of Highway Vodka.
Yeah.
Which we should have sponsor one of these things at some point. But we could talk about it during the yeah.
We already have one of those. Thank you, Dee.
Yeah, no, I know you do. They're great. And so I was talking to Ben, and I started to think about, let's I want to open up a restaurant. I think I need to do it because I hated working for people, and that's why I did such short stints. Most people were, in my eyes, lazy. And if I'm carrying your weight, why not do it for myself, right? And so I was speaking with Ben about it, and he was like, well, listen, man, nobody's going to support you doing a restaurant because you haven't had a job longer than 9 months. Show somebody that you can actually stay somewhere and move up. And I was like, okay, I hear that. So I did it over at Max's. Started at Washington Avenue and then became their corporate trainer and opened up the San Antonio location and did that for 18 months.
Yeah.
So I doubled my average time.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, and it worked. It had.
Because I'm in your brother camp right there.
Yeah.
9 months, huh?
Yeah,
you know what you're getting when you're in that interview. You're like, so 6 months have I got?
Yeah. You got a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
You got
How bad do
really
I need this right now?
Yeah. I can't believe that people were hiring me. So during my tenure over at Max's, I found the location, which is now at Lucille's, and it was kismet. I had my sons with me; they were still here, and they were 2 and 3 years old at the time.
Yeah.
So we're over at the Children's Museum, and they're at that age where they want to unbuckle themselves out of they want to do everything on their own, and it takes a long time. So they're doing it, and I'm smoking a cigarette, and I'm just looking around, and I see the building that had a big for sale for lease sign. They had just gotten out the car. I was like, get your ass, get back, let's go. Get back in the car, we're gonna go check this out. So we go across the street, and the gate's open, the front door's open, and I walk in there with my little ducks. Nobody's in there, and we could pretty much see how the spot was gonna be.
What was it before? Was it a restaurant?
No.
Okay.
So it's had a bunch of lives. Most recently, it was a daycare.
Kind of still is.
Before that, yeah.
I mean,
yeah, no, that's true.
your staff or your guests, take your pick.
Yeah, no, it's very true.
Yeah.
Before that, it was a segregated speakeasy, a white-only speakeasy, and the building was built in 1923.
Okay.
It had the same ownership until the person who leased it to me purchased it. But it's called Ann's Hideaway, and it's been there, since 1923.
Yeah.
And so I see the spot, and I was like, okay. And I called Ben up. I was like, I found it. This is the place.
You had a good eye.
That's
a good eye. I mean,
I
I wouldn't have seen that.
Yeah, I don't know why. I know why.
Yeah.
But so I called the landlord, and it just so happened. So when I lived in Europe, I was based mostly in Luton. And Luton's like the armpit of London. It's, a little bit, I think it's north, I can't remember now, but it's a terrible place. But the owner of of the property was from Bedford. Bedford is 2 stops away from Luton on the train. So we were able to hit it off talking about, England and all that kind of stuff. And I said, well, it's like, what do you want to do? I was like, I know I want to do a restaurant. What are you going to call it? I don't know. What are you going to serve? Don't know. When do you think you'll be open? I don't know.
I've been down this path before, too, so I totally get this. It all makes sense to me. Maybe not to y'all, but it makes sense to me.
And so he said, okay, well, great. Let's do it. and we signed the lease, and I remember that was a heavy day. I was like, we're about to do this? No clue, no name, no theme, Signed the lease, and he gave it to us for $4,000 a month, no TI. That's how little I knew about it. It's tenant improvement money.
Yeah, so when you sign a lease, you
This
kind of
spot's
want...
really intimate.
Yeah, you can hear it all.
Yeah.
You want what's called TI, which is tenant improvement, which it helps you to build the building out. Sometimes it's attached onto the lease in some form. If you find somebody that's really kick-ass, then they're just like, nah, you're good.
Yeah.
That doesn't ever really happen, though. So,
Yeah.
But it's generally like, we'll give you $12 per square foot. And it's like,
Yeah.
so, but it's one of those things you need to fight for.
Yeah.
But you got none.
I got 0.
Yeah, you got a building.
Yeah, got a building.
And good luck.
Yeah, got a building. And so...
That was a daycare.
That was a daycare. Yeah, that was a segregated speakeasy before.
Daycare? No grease trap.
No grease trap.
No hood vents.
No nothing.
Yeah.
No nothing.
Kind of like opening a restaurant in here.
Yeah. yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But just more on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, old third ward homes, they're very chopped up,
Yep.
but their bones are great.
Yep.
So demo's expensive and exhausting. But at any rate, he gave, I signed the lease and I gave Max's my 1 month notice that day. And then tried to figure out what we're going to do. And the first thing that we did is I called up the hospital that used to be across the street, Houston Hospital for Specialized Surgery, to see if there are any catering opportunities.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, you can cook for all of our patients. You know how to do that, right? I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah.
I worked at H-E-B. I could pack up a
Yeah,
salad.
I could. There's nothing that I can't do, sure. And they're like, okay, great, take this book. It's like, like 2 Tolstoy novels, things like this, and they want me to go through it and
Dietary restrictions. And,
yeah, and I didn't.
Yeah, low sodium.
No. I'll tell you something that was awful. It wasn't awful. It's just,
By telling me,
yeah,
them too.
Yeah, no, it's just us here. But one day they called me and they say they want a liquid diet.
Oh, buddy.
Right?
Oh, buddy.
And I was, the chef in me. And so we took this old house.
Yeah.
And we converted it into a production kitchen.
Yeah.
Like I, ran propane tanks from the outside, inside, had fryers in there, took my old range from my house. And the thing would shock you. So you had to cook with a rubber glove and turn a hot box into an oven.
Oh, yeah.
And then I had one of those propane burners from Gas Pro Shops. Like, that was our kitchen. We were making it happen. And so then they asked for the liquid diet. And it was I think it's 14 patient beds plus 30 doctors. We had to feed them 7 days a week, 3 meals a day. And they called for this liquid diet. So the chef in me was like, okay, well, this is about to be great. I had some steak, I had some spinach, I had some potatoes. Like, this guy's about to get steak dinner.
Got a blender.
Had a blender.
Oh.
Can you imagine the colors? And of course, the foolish thing was I couldn't even, I can't cook a steak past medium. so you had this perfect pink,
yeah. Just to go, think about that in a blender.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I go deliver it, and I remember the guy who received it. His name is Gary. He's like, "What the hell is this?" I was like, "You said you want a liquid diet. You got steak, you got potatoes, you got." He's like, "Dude, Jello, that's liquid diet." I was like, "Oh." Like, damn.
Because the whole idea of a steak medium rare would be delicious, but you put it in a blender, it's not delicious.
Yeah, no, dude.
I don't give a shit what you say. That's not the same flavor.
I don't know why it made all the sense. And I was like, this is what going above and beyond is.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Winning.
And that guy, he was like, yeah, Jello. Just Jello.
That's all I really wanted. That's all I can
I
really have.
I was like, do you want this? He's like, no, you can take that.
In fact, you should enjoy it.
Yeah, tell me what you think about it. Yeah, but so I started catering for them, and we had a family member who was over at Exxon who put us in with them. So Kang and I started cooking and delivering catering to all these places, a 2-man operation, making the food, delivering it, doing up to 400 people a day. And that's where we got going. It took us 26 months to get Lucille's open. 26
Piece by
months.
piece.
Piece by piece, and the planning department was not on our side.
Never is.
Yeah, I just
Sorry,
don't
planning
get
department,
it.
if there's anybody here for that.
I don't
but
get it.
You guys would come.
But
I'm
yeah.
not opening any more restaurants, so you guys got to suck.
Smart man. Yeah, smart man.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so, as we're going through the process, we're developing the concept, and I remember we're sitting over at my parents' table one night, and it's the 4 of us, Ben's there, and we're talking about it, and my mom, my sweet mom, was like, we need to name it Christopher's. I was like, no fucking way.
Yeah, no.
Like, you know how much pressure I'm going to be under, and now you want to put my name on it? Like, no way.
Yeah.
But I had a really stupid name. I was going to call it Trist, which is just lame. It has no color. It has no flavor. It has no story. And it was actually Ben who suggested that we name it after great-grandmommy. And as soon as he said that, I was like, that's it.
That's smart.
Yeah, like Lucille's, we're in the most competitive restaurant town in the country.
Yep.
So it helps to have a narrative that's yours. It's true, familial. And then it also gave me focus with the food. Because, I mean, I'm the guy who just had a menu in D.C. with Lithuanian dumplings and all, I needed focus. And Lucille's gave me, like, the perspective that we were going to go down. Like, we're doing Southern. We're doing comfort food. We're doing, global comfort. So I was like, that's it. And also, she took care of, like, 3 recipes for me, too. Like, it's less work that I had to do. She came with the chili biscuits. She came with the hot rolls, And
You shot out of a cannon with that, too.
Yeah. Yeah. We, wait, how do you mean? What do you mean?
You guys took off when that happened.
Yeah, I mean.
After you opened. I feel like.
You know what?
Lucille's. That's all I heard forever.
You want to know why?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of hype about us before we even opened.
Mm-hmm.
And that was with no PR team. It was just us, talking. And then 3 months after we opened up, I got the worst review that I've ever seen. Like, that's why you're hearing about us. Catherine Shilcutt wrote that piece that was just like I thought we had dated at some point. Like, I did something, I was going back to, I was like, what did I do? Like, what did I do? And she just tore the place apart. It was, I've never seen anything like it. And that's why you're hearing about us.
I don't think I hear it because of that, though.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it was the best thing that could ever happen to our business.
Yeah.
Like, it was the best. Like, I mean, when that review came out, it's like the first day.
That's super weird for somebody to say that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
people want to see it, though.
people,
Right?
yeah, that's a reason why people are
want to know.
rubberneckers. They want to see these car wrecks. Like, that's what they're more interested in. They want to see that than something good, unfortunately. But so when that piece came out, I had just gone to go take the boys Christmas shopping for trees. And I come back and my staff's all hovered around the computer. I was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, let's go. Like, let's get ready for the next shift. And like, chef, you got to see this. And I was like, oh my God, Houston Press. So I look at it and I read like 3 paragraphs and it was just inaccurate. Like, it was describing like the stuff is, like even like my tables are fake. It's not fake. That's real granite that I bought from Jose, whatever his name was, from Red Onion. Talking about the pepper vinegars was, bought from Ross. I'm like, yo, I grew those peppers.
Yeah.
We did that. And so I immediately fire off a response. Yeah. Yeah.
I learned that at a very young age. Don't fire back.
Man, like I still don't regret it though.
You shouldn't.
Like, and I just, I responded, and then everybody is just going at it, and it split, our audience in half. Other people thought I was a jerk, and other people was like, yeah, finally somebody's saying, like, this just isn't right. But then the most difficult thing was to go back to my staff the following day and convince these people to hold their heads up and still take this place seriously when everybody else isn't, right?
Yeah.
And so I made a commitment to them. I was like, okay, so look, I'm gonna cook every day, every shift, everything's gonna go through me until we get a real review in here. And so it took 6 months, and then Allison Cook comes in and gave us a...
Glowing.
Yeah, well, a review should be something that you can learn from.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she gave us a review that was accurate and we could learn from.
Well, I always think the good and bad you have to learn from it, no matter
for
what,
sure.
right? Like, we always had a thing that now everybody can review something, right? There's all the platforms that you have to pay attention. I don't want to pay attention. I never paid attention to that shit. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm with you.
But somebody in this audience would. And if it was consistently one thing, then that's something that we would look at.
Yeah.
But, you know.
It's unfortunate the only reviews that we look at are negative. Are you like that?
Yeah.
Like, it's the only information we want to take in as a negative.
I mean, she would
think
tell,
that's
I don't
most
really
people.
look, you know, and Mom used to tell me, don't ever read your own press. Don't ever read that shit. It don't matter.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Articles are good for making Mom and Dad happy, right? But it didn't ever, like, that doesn't make you as a person. Like,
It does
you only
nothing
learn.
for you.
That's zero.
Yeah, yeah,
No. It makes you just have to be better.
yeah.
Because if it's a good article, you got to be better. If it's a bad article, you got to be better. So just be
Yeah.
better.
Well, you know, I think as chefs, though, like, I think that we're kind of like inherently, like, I always thought I was a pessimist, but I realize that I am actually like a true optimist. But I'm still negative with my optimism, if that makes any sense.
No.
So it's like, if somebody writes a good article, I'm like, this asshole wasn't even paying attention. Like, what are you talking about? like you're not even looking at it, man. Like, why are you being so nice? And then if somebody's negative, it's the exact same response.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, this is not even paying attention. What's wrong with you? It's like, I don't know if you suffer that too, but it's.
I did.
Okay. Yeah.
Did.
You did.
Now it's like, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you guys having fun? All right, then we're doing our job.
Okay.
So you bought the property.
Yeah. Yeah. We bought it.
So that's one thing that like most people don't really understand, that unless you buy the property, it's so hard to actually make it, right? If you're paying rent to somebody because they're always going to jack the rent up, the better you do the rent, that next lease, it goes up, you know. It always, even on like a 20-year lease, it's like, well, after 5 it goes up. After 5, you're like,
Yeah.
well, hopefully in 20 years I'm still doing, you know, whatever. But you decided to pay yourself the rent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was kind of, I was kind of taking the Danny Meyer approach to where he doesn't own much. You know what I mean? Like, he likes the landlords being responsible for all improvements or, you know, all maintenance of his asset.
That's only if your landlords are willing to do that.
Yeah, right. But I was content, and my landlord was decent. He's a fair dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, you know, we do everything on our own anyhow. So I was a great tenant. I never called for anything.
Yeah.
But then, right with the pandemic, that's when he got this idea. I guess him and his partner broke up, and they wanted to sell the spot, and they were trying to, you know, go some other route and overcharge. So we were kind of forced to get it, and get it at a fair, you know, number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
but I'm glad. I mean, like, it's the way
is really hard to do at the time.
Yeah.
That's really hard.
Yeah.
But now you're a property owner.
Yeah.
You own real estate.
Right.
And it will pay itself off in the years to come, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the one thing I always wish that, you know, hindsight, right?
Yeah.
Good on you for that, though. That's
Yeah.
actually one of the smartest business decisions that a chef can make, just so y'all know. Congrats to you for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I mean, if you can do it, like, that is the most brilliant thing that you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it took, I learned a lot, and Amagi Bank came in and helped us with that because, you know, we never had investors. We still don't even, like, we've never had investors. And it's just family. It's family and grit. And so I didn't know about partnerships with banks. I didn't know about investors. I didn't know anything. And so we were kind of dead in the water and looking for nonprofit support on how to do this. And then I remembered this guy, Javon Sterling, who I did a panel with years ago. And I just reached out, like, hey, is there any way that you guys could help us get this thing done? And he was like, well, you know, can you go conventional? I was like, I'd really rather not, but yeah, if that's the only way that we can do it. And the man just educated me and got the deal done. Got it done in time, saved us a ton of money, and has been like a great partner ever since. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude.
All right, before we go on break, I wanted to get into something that's really important to me, and one of the things that I think inspires me the most about you which is Lucille's 1913.
Yep.
I think that somewhere in the restaurant business, somebody gets an idea, right? And Southern Smoke is that for me. And Lucille's 1913 is that special place in your heart for you. So tell us a little bit about what 1913 is.
Well, it's the mission is to create a vertically integrated ecosystem, creating a pathway to sustainable employment through cultural and culinary arts. Like that's the mission statement as written on the website, I believe. That's what it should be. But
I'm going to go with it. It sounds good. I mean, it's fine with me.
But it started with the pandemic. Like, we're sitting over there, we're down 92% in sales. But I made a commitment to our team that like there would be no furlough, no layoffs, nothing. Like we kept 99% of our staff. We only let go of one person because that person just had to go. Like that's
There's always that one.
They just had to go. But outside of that, we kept everybody on and we moved them over to salaries, right?
Yeah.
So, and I also had conversations with all of our vendors and including my landlord at the time. It's like, listen, we don't know how long this thing's gonna last. We're not gonna be profitable, so there's no reason that you need to be profitable. We can sustain the business, we can pay at cost. And everybody's like, okay, great, let's just do that. Everybody. So drop my rent down thousands of dollars. All my food was coming at cost. It was great. And because of that, we ended up being profitable. And my mind was already set on not being profitable. Yeah. Like I knew that we weren't going to be profitable. The game was just a hold.
Yeah.
But so now we have extra cash that we've never had. And we have all the staff and we're doing 8% of what we normally do. So I was like, okay, what can we do? Because thankfully my team, who are still with us, they like hard work. So my job's to find work for them. So it started off with us feeding the first responders in the med center right behind us. And some restaurants were providing like breakfast and and that's easy, right? Like it's cheap, it's just eggs and whatever, it's nothing. And then it's, and it's, all your staff is here. So I was like, okay, how do we hit the people that nobody considers? We're going out to the graveyard shift. And how are we gonna make it different and better for them? We're gonna give them full, like real meals that we serve at Lucille's, and then even beyond. Like we're braising short rib for these cats, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. It was great, and we loved it. Like I fell in love with it in that moment. The staff fell in love with it, and our kitchen's pretty dynamic. Like at that point, it's 6 different languages in the back of the house, right? But we're all back there just grinding, making this happen. It's a new style of plating, but this is stuff that Kang and I had already mastered back when we were doing the catering. Right?
No liquid diet, but yeah.
Right. Minus that. So we did over 3,000 meals in the first, I think, 15 days of the lockdown. And then I got an opportunity with World Central Kitchen to go feed this community called Anna Dupree, which turns out is also, it's named after and built by the person who built the El Dorado Ballroom, it's Anna Dupree. So like all these things are connected. But so that was the first building that we did, the first property, and they're based in Sunnyside, which I have a lot of history with because a lot of my dad's family lived in Sunnyside. Historically African-American community, historically not wealthy. But so anyhow, we started delivering over there, and World Central Kitchen only paid you to do it for a week.
Yeah.
First day I delivered, I was like, okay, I know these people. I know their palates. I know exactly how to get nutrition in there without compromising flavor, so I can actually cook for them with dignity. Like, let me do this for a month. And I wrote a menu out for a month and sent it over to World Central Kitchen, and they're like, okay, you can do 2 weeks. I was like, okay, great, fine. 2 weeks came up, they pulled funding. But now, since I was delivering all the food myself every day, I'd already developed these little relationships with the people, and like, the elders don't care. Like, chef, that was nice, but you forgot salt, baby. They're real, you know what I mean? Like, it's beautiful. But so developed these relationships, and I just couldn't like walk away because the funding is gone. So we just went ahead and we kept cooking. And so that was 127 people. Word got out to other communities, and it turned into us doing, I think it was about 450 a day, something around there. And so we're cooking it all at Lucille's, and then I'm delivering it all to all the properties myself. So then people started to find out about it, and they wanted support, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, great, go order some chili biscuits or something, give me some money. What are you talking about?
You want a sport?
Yeah.
It's called cash.
Yeah, and they're like, but you need to open up a nonprofit to do that because we just can't give you, like Comcast
True. Yeah.
was saying that. And I was like, okay, all right, well, let me just figure out how to do this then. So I'm looking at how to, get the 501c3 designation and came up, I was like, what am I going to name it? Okay, well, we're doing exactly what my great-grandmother did. Like her business and Brilliant started out of serving the community. Like she took what she was a master of to benefit her community, and then it just turned into a business, right? But it always started with home and her neighbors. So we were doing the exact same thing. So 1913 is the best year that I could come up if I trying to triangulate when she started her business, and I think it was like 2 years before she got married or after she got married or something like that. Something. And 1913 sounds better than 1912 and 1913.
We're all going to go with it.
Yeah, so that's 1913. And so I came up with that, and then we started to get, Comcast gave me like, $1,500, and then I found out about my first foundation, which is, and at this point I'm all in. Like I'm addicted to doing this work because like serving these people, and I've done volunteer work, like we grew up doing it with my mom, like she insisted that we always did that. But being a part on like the creation side of it and seeing, and also on the delivery
You're delivering
side,
it.
yeah, it's just seeing the gratitude was different because it's like, having done work with the food bank, like there's no real consideration of who's receiving that food.
It's great
food.
work.
Yeah, it's
great
necessary.
work,
It's
but
necessary.
it's not here.
Yeah, and it's not here. This is for you.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's as chefs, like that's what we're uniquely positioned to do is to cook specifically for you and your palate. And so that's what we were doing. Sunnyside, 97% African American. I got you. Richmond, Texas, 48% Hispanic. That's the people that we were going after. I got you. When the Afghani people came into Gulfton, I got you. Specifically, like food for you. So people started giving us the money to support. It started with the Napier Foundation, which is some group in Florida. I don't know, how they found out about us, but they came in with $10,000. Like, oh my God, I can do a lot with this. And then the Kinder Foundation came in, and they found out about it, and then we were doing close to 2,300 meals a day. And we did over 1 million meals in total. And so all from scratch. So we did that all from scratch, and then, but then what I realized, and so there's a lot of parts that go into it, but it's combating food waste because kitchens, like that's the number 3 contributor to global warming, which makes us the number 1 contributor to the number 3 contributor to global warming. So I wanted to shrink our footprint, so we compost, but then I also wanted to take some of those would-be waste products and start doing lacto fermentation. So we built a fermentation lab in 5th Ward at one of our communities.
Stems and leaves.
Stems and leaves, collard green stems, and that's it. And free ingredients. And now we have shelf-stable whole products ready to go. And it's training for somebody else. Like, I wish I could learn how to do that stuff back in the day. But then I realized like the meal program was more turned into like just another Band-Aid. Like it's kind of like perpetuating the problem. Like people are over the pandemic, now they're just taking the meal because, we're used to it. But that's not really helping you, is it? Like what's gonna help somebody? So that's how I got into farming. Fort Bend County reached out to us to see if we could do something more than Richmond. And I said, well, if you have more funding, then we could do it, but no. And they're like, well, we don't. I said, okay, well, do you have land? And they told me about this place, Kendleton, Texas, which is like, it's an historic farming community.
Delicious.
Okay, I sold, I'll get one, okay? I think we're all gonna get one after that. But it's a historic farming community that was built with Reconstruction. It was given to the former slave owner, whose name was Kendleton. I think they need to change that name, but anyhow, he gifted some people the land, and some of the founding families of Kendleton are actually best friends of my parents, the Alton family. So I found out about this.
How does your world just keep getting smaller?
Dude, it's amazing.
That's
like,
oh, by the way, this is you see it all ties in. It's like
yeah, and it's like and so I started researching it, and I met with the mayor out there, I met with the county judge's office, and I was like, okay, so look, so we take land, and it's also 15 miles away from any fresh food sources. So it's historical African-American community,
basically
historical
a desert.
farming. It's a desert. And now the farmland's privately owned. So there's only like a little gas station that has Twinkies, instant coffee, paper towels, gas, and that's it. And so I was like, okay, we'll do this. Let's do a farm and and we'll hire people from Kindleton and train them. And that's what 1913 is. We hire people from these neighborhoods that we're serving and give them access to what we do, right? Because people that come into our business either don't have the opportunity to do anything else, illegal, that whole thing.
Yeah.
But the people in these communities don't really get into this world. So I wanted to introduce it to them. So we hire from those communities. All the people in the production kitchen are green. No cooking experience whatsoever, the majority of them. So the same approach with the farming. And just like with the food, with the farming, so we hire people from the community, teach them how to grow for their own community. So they get the dual benefit of getting paid a premium, $12 an hour, to learn how to grow this, how to master the land, and the harvest goes to feed them and their neighbors, right? So that's a pretty great job.
I mean, it's
But then
full circle.
It's a full circle thing, and then we also take the same approach with the food. With the farming that we take with the food when it's focused growing. So we're only growing stuff that fits the palates for the people that we're serving. So we're not wasting time with kohlrabi and rutabaga and all that stuff.
Just, traditionally wasting time, but
Yeah, yeah.
when was the last time somebody was like, man, I had a delicious kohlrabi salad?
Yeah, no.
Never.
Yeah.
Does it grow good here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it delicious? No.
Yeah. And so we just pulled, so this last harvest, we focused on collard greens, mustard greens, and turnips. And in preparation for the freeze, we pulled out just under 4,000 pounds, like 4,000 pounds of produce. Of course, it goes straight to killing the people first. It doesn't make a dent. Like with that amount of produce, like I could do Lucille's 6 times over.
Yeah.
If it's done on a proper cycle. But so we're essentially like, we grow to give. And so we have different partnerships down there with Attack Poverty, a couple of schools, a couple of churches, and a couple of, what I'm pursuing now is halfway houses. Because one thing about trying to get this workforce, like the biggest challenge is like, because I'm trying to create a new workforce essentially.
Yeah.
The challenge is like, it's just not sexy, right? Like Texas Workforce Commission's a great asset, but people have to choose the jobs, and nobody's choosing farming. Nobody is choosing farming.
Zero.
Yeah. Very few people choose kitchen work, actually. So I've been trying to think about who's a target that would benefit from this work and will also be a reliable employee. Somebody transitioning from prison to a halfway house, because there's accountability there.
There's.
It's real substantial, significant training, because we're not just doing seed, harvest, and whatever distribution. We're going into processing now, because 3,000 farms, and also I should say that we're only doing 4 acres right now out of a larger 54 that we have access to in Fort Bend County.
Yeah.
So the next stage is to build a processing unit, a more mobile processing unit, so people can learn how to harvest, how to clean, how to package for distribution, and then also how to freeze. So it's because we're trying to kill the waste. So that's what we're going after next, is trying to recruit some brothers and sisters out the halfway house.
You're nonstop.
Yeah.
But it's inspiring, right? How many of y'all knew that? Just the whole plan. We could talk about the 1913, and I know how it started and where you're going, but just where your head is at and where you want to take it.
Yeah.
Is a breath of fresh air, man.
Well, I appreciate it. It takes all my breath. Yeah.
So, wow, we're gonna take a few minutes.
You got emotional on that one?
Yeah, well, you know what? Yes, I do. Just because I always find that when you can step outside of your own realm to do something better for the community and better for people that you'll never meet, really, and it's just an aspiring thing. I think that it makes me emotional,
I appreciate that, man.
right? And because we can all live in a world where we just kind of do what we're good at, but if we can step outside just to raise other people a little bit up, because not only is that like doing all that for the community, but you're giving people a sense of pride and a sense of worth and a sense of
dignity.
I really want to wake up this morning and really get to work because someone that doesn't really know you or doesn't know, I would say if I were in their shoes, doesn't know me, believes in me. And that's special.
Yeah.
It really is.
Well, I mean, it means a lot here, and you say that. You don't really have time to think about it. You're just doing.
And that's traditionally like Cook's mentality.
Yeah.
Just get it done.
Yeah. Just get it done.
I want to do this. Let's go. I know there's some people in here that we work closely together that I say that to all the time. Like, oh, let's just do it. And they,
Yeah.
okay. It's always good to have people around you that can help you figure these things out because, yeah. Anyway, let's take a little break because there's still late August, Rattle Market, Eldorado Ballroom, the book, and questions. Like, so, you know, if you go to the open table appy thing, QR code out here, I'm not technologically sound. Leave me alone. It's on the playbill. Look at that. Thank you, Casey. You just take a little photo of it, and you can ask a question. They're going to bring me up the iPad if I can figure that out. They show me every time. I don't know. I'm better by carrier pigeon, I guess. But you just post it up. I'll try and get to the questions, okay? So go grab a Cosmo, old-fashioned. Shit, it's like a class. Let's make it quick, like 10 minutes, all right?
10 minutes?
Yeah, don't swamp the bar too hard. We'll do that afterwards, and I'll have a drink with you. But yeah, just a few minutes, all right? There's just so much to talk about.
There is.
He's like, you're just gonna walk out on your own, huh? So I said 9, I didn't want to be late. It's kind of a good thing, right?
Yeah, it's a great thing.
Because we still got so much to cover. Let's just get into it. Late August. I know that's the one. That also goes back to like it's taking you longer than you wanted to, and
Just a little bit.
I'm sure it's frustrating
Yeah.
to a lot of things, but
Well, you know, I've started, I've gotten this saying now, like every lesson is a blessing, and late August has been a big blessing.
learned a lot.
Learned a lot. Learned a lot. But, you know, I just really believe like the time that it's taken, it really has been a gift. Because we could have opened up, you know, we were supposed to, which was 2 Augusts ago. Yeah, we were supposed to open up.
Till late.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know,
It's getting there.
It's getting there, but if we would have opened up then, we had a bunch of things that would have just killed the restaurant.
That's fine.
One of them being that the Ion still didn't have the tenants. Like people, it was still selling itself to
Yeah.
people. It didn't have
It's
the
good,
common
man.
desk component going. And now, you know, now they have close to, Chef is here, now they have close to 900 tenants, and they're building out the 4th floor to increase that common desk thing. So it's great to have that captive audience here to really build a business around. And then just with the concept and the team that's going into it, you know, it's where it should be.
So, late August at the Ion. You have such a good warrior. I mean, I think when you learned that Lucille's was the proper name, that all of a sudden these things started to tie in, right? And when you started to think about naming things, the late August transition of why you named it that. Can you speak to that? Because I, as a child of that era,
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So with, again, we always like to name things, basic concepts in some kind of historical component, right? My great-grandmother, the Lebanese patriarch of the family in Canada, which is the Mills, the Ratto, that's what they used to call the Eldorado Ballroom. Back in the day, if James Brown was performing, they wouldn't say James Brown's going to be at the Eldorado Ballroom. They say Mr. Dynamite's going to be at the Ratto tonight. So that's why we named it the Ratto Market.
We'll get to that too.
Okay, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay. But with late August, when I agreed to try to develop a concept there, I started researching the building, the Sears building. It's built in 1918 or 1913, I can't remember now. 1918. And it was an architectural marvel, first escalator in the city. And then I started thinking about my own personal relationship with Sears Roebuck,
Hell yes.
Like, and Sears was actually, like, it was dope because it's like, it was Amazon before Amazon. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were selling houses.
I also like whiskey, so I think the bourbon part of the deal. Sorry, it gets a little confusing, I know.
But so they had all that history. They essentially desegregated the shopping experience for the country, not because they were decent people. They were just super capitalist, and they did well. Like, it was great. And then my personal experience was going over there to go get those terrible khakis and polos with my mother, and then the department store experience. And the Christmas catalog.
Loved it.
Love the Christmas catalog.
Loved it.
You get the thing at some point of the year, and then and then your parents have X amount of time to disappoint you because you circle everything in the book. You give it to them, and you'll get 2, maybe 3 things out of there.
Yeah.
But at any rate,
some of this you circled. There's no way you need it anyway. Like,
Dad, you got us everything, but it wasn't all from the Sears catalog. Yeah. I wasn't saying we only got 3 gifts. We only got 3 from Sears. Okay. It's just, Dad, he's like, man, please. As much money as I spent on your Christmas, don't you sit up over here talking about you didn't get gifts yet. No, we were blessed. Dad and Mom, they blessed us for sure. But so I started thinking about that, okay, Sears catalog, and then I was trying to find out when did it come out. And you couldn't find any definitive dates. It just always came out in late August. And so I said, okay, well, then that's the name of the restaurant. Like, the words jumped off the page to me. I was like, okay, late August, that's it. And this happened like about 2 o'clock in the morning. I was, probably about
2.
Yeah, 2 bottles deep in bourbon. And I hit Cleve. Cleve's our design guy, and I hit Cleve with it as soon as I saw it. I was like, late August. He was like, what the hell are you talking about, bro? I couldn't believe that he even responded to me that late. I was like, that's the name of the restaurant. That's what we're calling it, late August. That's when, and he's like, that's it. Love it. And so that's the name. And then we had no idea what we were going to do past that. Because that name doesn't give us any reference.
It also doesn't hold you back to anything.
Exactly. It doesn't limit us. It gives us a playground, which can be trouble.
I mean, if you go back to the DC method of writing a menu.
Yeah, exactly. You got to get to thine own self be true.
I can definitely see how that would be.
And like I said, a Mills gives me perspective. That drives the menu.
Yeah.
Right? Lucille drives the menu over at Lucille's. Late August does not drive anything. But like you said, it's a playground. So as we've gone through these transitions, that's why you actually gave me this advice. You said, when I was going through everything with the former chef, I don't know if we're going to mention it or what. Okay. But we can, I'm fine. Oh. You've already gotten me 2 drinks, so like whatever you want to do. Okay.
We still got more to cover.
Okay, all right, good.
Yeah.
But you said, you never want to build a concept around a chef, right? Mm-hmm. Because, the chef goes and you have to rebrand the whole concept and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, you're right. And thank God we named it Late August, because there's no chef in that. We could be whatever we want to be. And so now I'm pumped because where we're going with it is, and I won't spend too much time on it, but like 8 years ago, I went to Oaxaca. My mailman became like my travel guide. He was telling me all these places I need to go in Mexico. And I go hit one. He's like, okay, all right, now you're ready for Oaxaca. And so I go down to Oaxaca, and the food's just, it's a completely different experience. The best food I've had anywhere in the world. And I've, chased Michelin stars all over the place, but Oaxaca is it. But there's something
We were just talking about a vacation, and now I think I just know where we're going.
Yeah, you haven't been to Oaxaca?
Nope.
Okay.
I've been all over Mexico, never to Oaxaca.
Oaxaca is it. It is it. So I go down there, and there's something very familiar about it. Mm-hmm. Like that I don't know what it is, but it's something very familiar just about the air of it. And so when you're in Oaxaca, what do? You drink mezcal as much as you can. You eat tons of amazing food. You go to art houses, and you just repeat. Like, that's what you do your whole trip. So I was like on the 3rd cycle of that. And I'm in this art house and I see this work that was like, you know who Ernie Barnes is?
Not a clue.
Was an artist, famous African American artist, and he used to draw like these very exaggerated, long African, definitely black characters, like just long. Mm-hmm. And so I see something in there, and I actually bought the piece. But I saw this piece, and I was like, what the hell is this doing here? Like, what, you got some brothers down here painting? What's going on? And she was like, nah. She told me who the artist was. I looked him up. There's nothing Afro anything about him. I was like, well, what's his subject? Like, what is this? She was like, well, maybe it's Costa Chica. So I look up Costa Chica, which is the southern part of Oaxaca, and that's home to the largest Afro-Mexican community in all of Mexico. A community that nobody knew about. So then I started digging deeper into Oaxaca and find out that it's also one of the first free African communities in all of the Americas. First one was Colombia. This is number 2 or number 3. It's in Oaxaca. Started with a guy named Gaspar Yanga who fought the Spaniards from the mountains for 40 years. They elected him to freedom, and now they have a town in Oaxaca called Yanga Town with a 40-foot tall black statue of this African man. Yeah, it's crazy, right?
It's awesome.
And so once I got that history, then the food started to hit differently. I started to see mole closer to like Owedu or Goosey. I started to see the way they use the corn, just more familiar. Like it just started to resonate with me in a different way. So I always thought it'd be fun to come back and try to tell that story. And I was even thinking about doing a restaurant called Nyangas, where we really did West African and Oaxacan cuisine and just played with it. And I'm glad we didn't do it because it would have been a failure because I have no idea what I'm doing. But I met...
It's a lot of those ideas that roll around in my head.
So yeah, right? Yeah.
That's where they need to stay most of the time.
That's where they need to stay. And so that one, and thank God, that one stayed there. But then when we were looking for a chef for late August, I met this cat, Sergio, and we're on the phone, and he just has the same passion for food that I have. Humble ingredients. Like, that's always the word I like to say. I love humble ingredients. Like, anybody can make filet mignon badass. You don't have to do anything. You're lazy. Like, you got nothing, right? Like,
I tend to think it's never going to be good, but that's okay.
Yeah, right.
It rests on the liver and all the offal meat. Fillets taste like liver. Next time you eat one, point it out. Prove me wrong.
I like liver.
For those of you who were here last time, it falls on the avocado line.
What's the avocado line?
I don't like them.
You don't like avocados?
It's fucking gross.
You hear that laugh over there?
Yeah.
She lives on avocado. Like that's all she needs.
This is not me.
Yeah, I feel that. I respect
potato
that.
salad, same thing. Blech.
I didn't like potato salad, but now I like potato salad.
I don't like it.
The chef over there makes a badass potato salad.
When it's good, it's good.
Yeah?
Yeah. But most of the time, it's just cold potatoes.
Well, that's essentially what it is. Yeah.
It's not my jam.
I feel that. I feel that. But so I meet Sergio, and he starts talking about his passion for his culture and how his mission is to elevate these humble foods. And it just got me going back to that whole, that experience I had in Oaxaca. And we've been back, 7 times, I think. And I was like, okay, well, here's the opportunity. Like, let's do it. Let's look into this Afro-Mex idea. Let's go down that path. And Sergio loved the idea. I gave him a couple of cookbooks, and he could see the immediate connections, like the synergies. Because the fact is, the ingredients are the same everywhere in the world, like the same shit, wherever you go. And you're going to find a lot of, shared techniques. It doesn't matter where certain ingredients just insist on being used this kind of way. So you can make those connections anyway. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do, I'm not going to say we're going to do Afro-Mex, but the chefs are Afro-Mex. So it's coming from us.
I'm excited.
I'm pumped about it because nobody's really explored that. You know what I mean?
No, we've had this conversation.
Yeah.
It hasn't really crossed the paths haven't crossed. But as you say it, I see it.
Right.
And I start to understand it a little bit more. And I think that, it will have its own explanations as it comes to fruition too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we're excited about it. So we're going to open it up in March 11th is where we're going to do it. March 11th, man.
I don't ever put dates on anything, man.
Well, I kind of had to. Because I've been saying
Did you write that down?
Yeah, that's on the record, right?
Yeah, buddy.
It's literally on the record. Yeah, I just signed it and sent it off the other day. So it's March 11th. Chef Sergio, you ready?
There you go. Let's go.
Mrs. Hidalgo, say goodbye to your husband because it's about to be on.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited for that because it's not too far from my house and it's in the neighborhood, so I want to see it. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited. Small menu, focused menu.
Because the restaurant's what, 60 seats?
Yeah, it's 60
Inside.
seats. Yeah, 66 seats inside with potential to do another 40 outside, but we'll take our time with that. But you've seen the space several times. I have a kitchen for a 500-seat restaurant.
Well, you can feed the entire, what's it called, Ion.
Well, that's what we intend to do.
Yeah.
That's exactly what
It's definitely built to do that.
Yeah, it's literally built to do that. I just did not know it until because I was avoiding it like the plague because it's just too much kitchen. And I went and sat up in there and just breathed it in for a couple of minutes and it just came. I was like, okay, we have 900 tenants right above us. They're not going to eat at our restaurant more than once a week at best. How can we get to them? And we have enough kitchens to where we can run 3 different menus out of there if we want. So that's what we'll do. We'll have
The quick serve option has got to be pretty stellar for you. Like you can run that pretty fast, I think.
Yeah, and I think that we can. I mean, as soon as we get our CO, we run it. Like we can start there, and we don't have to worry about front of the house costs or anything like that. We can start pretty soon. And then we also have Second Draft, which is a brewery right next to us that doesn't have a kitchen, which means they don't have a menu. Or they didn't have a menu. But now they have their own Second Draft menu, which is we created specifically to go along with their beers, and we can fulfill that out of our kitchen, no extra cost, no extra overhead. It's just another revenue stream to help support the most unstable business on the planet, which is a restaurant. So, yeah. Yeah. I'm not mad at it.
Suckers. And so in the mix of all this, there's El Dorado Ballroom and Rattle Market.
Yeah.
Which all of a sudden he calls me one day. He's like, "Hey man, I want you to come see this place." And I was like, "All right, are you working on this?" He's like, "No, it's done." I was like, "What?"
Yeah. So,
Mr. Surprise over here. So let's talk about El Dorado because I think it's one of the most beautiful venues out there.
It is, man. It's a. I mean, it's just.
It's so good.
It's just an amazing gift, an amazing opportunity.
So it's on. So where is it at?
It's at Elgin and Emancipation.
Okay. Right across from Emancipation Park.
Right across from Emancipation Park. It was built in 1939 by Anna Dupree, the lady who I mentioned, who was the first who started my nonprofit work. African American philanthropist from Galveston. Her and her husband built it, and it was in the Green Book. I don't know if you guys know about the Green Book, but it's a thing. You should look it up.
Google that.
Yeah, I would Google the Green Book, but it's like, what's it? Tony, can you help me out with the most succinct way?
Leave.
Is Tony left?
She had to leave, yeah.
Mom, can you help me out with the most succinct way of describing what the Green Book was?
The Green Book was like an encyclopedia. It was a small book that gave the names of where African Americans could stop when they were driving or traveling. You couldn't go to hotels or motels. So there were homes that took in travelers all across the nation.
Yeah.
They were listed in the Green Book.
Yeah, so it's like a safe house.
Right.
That's awesome.
Travelers.
Right. And so the El Dorado Ballroom was on there, but it's also part of the Chitlin Circuit, and all the masters played there, from James Brown, Duke Ellington, Ella Fitzgerald, Charlie Parker. Everybody, if they performed in Houston, they performed at the El Dorado Ballroom. Project Row Houses was gifted the ballroom about 9 years ago. It's been sitting somewhat dormant for the past, I don't know, 20, 25 years. They decided to go on a capital raise to renovate and restore the building. So they brought me on to create the concepts and to operate the space. I was not their first choice, but I was the first one who said, yeah, we can do it.
You're the first choice, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, hey, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, you were.
But so, and so we so they've restored it. Like they've used all the wood. Everything in there is the original stuff. And it's two parts to the build. There's the original ballroom side, everything that's underneath the ballroom, that's all the original stuff. And then there's the patio and a couple extra placements in green room and all that elevator and all that. But it's just a historic spot. And now our job, so we have three things going on in there. We have the Ratto Market. And the vision behind the place when we first got involved,
I think is beautiful.
Thank you. We wanted to make it a cultural celebration community center. I'm not saying that in the right order, but that's what I wanted to do with it. And so what is Third Ward known for? Third Ward's a historic art spot. I mean, ever since it was, became Third Ward that we know. That's like been the cultural hub of Houston, especially for the African-American side. And so you think about it, and then you think about Houston at large. All these artists come out of Third Ward. Visual, musical, film, all of this comes from that hub. But there's no place for that community to access the fruits of its labor. Like this community cultivates and nurtures this talent, but then for the talent to make it, it has to leave. It has to leave Houston because there's no real music scene here. Like it's growing, but it's not a real music scene. So they gotta go to Austin and Nashville, wherever else they're gonna go, right? Same thing with the artists, but I don't know what their path is. I know it's out of Houston, wherever it is. And there's no place for the people that created it to have access to it. So we want to do food, and it's also a food desert. There's H-E-B there, but it's kind of price prohibitive for most, right?
It's a few miles down, yeah.
Yeah. And then, that's it. So we want to do a market. We want to have quick service food with sandwiches made with the ingredients, just like it's always our approach, is consider the palates of the people that we're serving. So healthier takes on the classic staple ingredients from that community, with the market, which is using itself as a conduit for other entrepreneurs in the community to finally have shelf space in a brick and mortar. So all the shelves are full of people from Third Ward and a little bit south. One dude's from Missouri City, but we have honey, wax, shoe shine, polish, glassware, which is gorgeous. Just all these products. Our pickles are in there. Our produce is coming now that we have the harvest. And it survived the freeze, by the way, chef. So that's good. But we selling fresh produce and let that be a platform.
Someone just went 4,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 4,000. 4,000.
Am I getting all that?
And so we have that going on, and then we have the art. We wanted to have art. So many artists come from Third Ward. They don't have like a real gallery they can access it to where it's accessible to. So we have the Hogan Brown Gallery, which again, named on history.
It's gorgeous too.
My parents, their parents were best friends. My mother's maiden name is Hogan. My dad's mother's maiden name is Brown. So we have the Hogan Brown Gallery. You put them together, it sounds like an old Irish institution. And it's been selling like that, which is great. And and what we're showcasing in there is young and up-and-coming talent next to the masters, the juxtaposition of the new talent like Kaima Marie and Lovey Olivier, next to Al Jaber and Floyd Newsom and Rick Lowe and all these people. And one of the first pieces that we sold, and the first show that we did, we're on 6 Degrees of Separation Phase 2, but the first show that we did, the first artist to sell any work sold to Museum of Fine Arts, Houston. And that's Kaima Marie, who's finishing off her master's over at U of H.
That's awesome.
So it's meant to be a spot to where it's like, it's accessible to the community, but it's also inspiring to the community because I want them to own it. Like I want them to see like, hey, art, you can do this for a career. You can live, and look at this guy right here. He has the audacity to charge $60,000 for this piece. Why can't you do it?
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's working.
We have some of Floyd's work in one of the restaurants.
Really?
For a while, yeah.
That's awesome, beautiful. Man. I tried to buy one of the pieces, then he changed his mind.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know. But then with the gallery, not with the gallery, with the ballroom, I want to bring back that talent that was there, that level of talent. So we've touched it. We've had Chris Dave, who's a multi-Grammy award-winning drummer from Houston, come and do 2 amazing shows. But I'm not a producer of shows. Like I don't know anything about that world, so I'm learning there too.
Yeah.
But I just talked to I guess we haven't really talked about it. I just put it out in our little Signal chat that we're going to start doing an El Dorado Unplugged series.
I love how
Well, it hasn't fully been vetted yet.
But it's
or
happening.
Have we really discussed it? But I'm just going to go ahead and say it right
It's
now.
happening. It's happening.
It's you and I are so alike.
Yeah, it's happening.
Oh, you give me anxiety because I know I give people anxiety. Oh my God. But that's the way to do it. If you don't say it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, if you don't say it out loud, there's nobody's going to hold you accountable. So that's
Yeah.
we're going to do an unplugged series. We're going to start with Cam. She doesn't know it yet. Cam from the Sufferers. I haven't talked to her, but
We literally just were upstairs and he was like, what do you think about Cam? I was like, yeah. He was like,
yeah. You bought in on it, so I'll try to get in touch with her in the next couple of days and see, what our start date is on this thing.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it so much. So, I mean, so El Dorado is a fantastic music space.
Yeah.
Right? And it's got a full bar in the thing.
Full bar.
And it's gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
It's one of the, Southern Smoke is holding an event there.
Yeah.
Our wine auction come April.
It's going to be an amazing
April
event.
20th, yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
fun. It's kind of our second venture into doing another event. But then you mentioned Tony, and she had to go. Tony Tipton Martin, who was here a little bit ago, just an amazing author, historian.
Yeah.
Helped start Texas Foodways Alliance or Texas Foodways and Southern Foodways Alliance. And Chris and I'm going to go ahead, and she's not here, but I'm going to. They're honoring her. The Smithsonian with the Julia Child Network is honoring her in Houston, February 8th. Boy, my wife just stepped
Jeff,
out.
you know what day it is?
The 10th?
February 10th.
Yeah, because we're both cooking.
Yeah.
So it's good. So yeah, it's going to be an event where Chris and myself and Aaron Bluedorn are all cooking to honor Tony, who had to catch an early flight because she's on her book tour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's going to be a great event. You're showing off with your menu there. But
Overachiever.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm not running restaurants. I got shit to do. It's going to be fun. So if you guys want to come to a killer dinner, there you go. February 10th,
Yeah.
El Dorado Ballroom. So
Yeah. That's good. It's going to be good. And your event's going to be killer. And we're moving our Prince event. So every year.
I know it kind of kills me that we're moving the Prince.
Well, we're only going to move it back one day.
Okay, well then I can come there 2 nights in a row.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, you can.
I like this.
Yeah, and it's actually on the D-Day. So every year since he passed, we do Prince Week at Lucille's. I'm a fanatic. I'm not a fan. I'm a fanatic. And I didn't realize it until I started doing this. But so what we do is we used to do wine dinners that would be 7 courses because 7 was his number, and it's all vegan because he was a vegan, and we use biodynamic wines, and we play Prince music the entire time. Hey Amanda, hey Ben, and then and then we always finish off the week with a big Prince party on the patio where we had this great band come out and do it. Last year we weren't going to do it, but the El Dorado was finished, and the AV in the El Dorado is done by the same people who did White Oak Music Hall and House of Blues, so it's 2030 sound in 1930s in a 1930s setting. It's beautiful, and the sound's killer. So we did the show over there. We always do it on that week, the 20th, and so it's always going to be that Saturday, but your event's happening on the Saturday.
Thank you.
And my events never make money, so it's an easy transition to move. We're going to move our event to Sunday as opposed to Saturday.
So we're going to have the Southern Smoke wine auction on 420, and then 421 is the Prince party.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. You guys should come.
So we just got to get our shit out of there real quick.
Real quick, please.
Yeah.
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 I'll help you.
All the breakdown is happening on Saturday. It's all good.
All right, good.
Oh, perfect.
And so you got a book coming out.
Yeah,
Can you touch on that real quick?
sure. Yeah, we got a book coming out.
All right, I say that because having written one, it's 3 years of your life.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, you should write a book. And I'm like, you got 3 years that you want to do nothing? And run restaurants and do all this? I don't know how you
Yeah, it's going to be intense. We're doing. I think it's going to be 125 recipes that we're doing, and so it was earmarked to be Black Texas, but I'm over that. I'm not over I don't like the framing. I think the framing's very limited. The story's so much more than that, and it's frankly lazy. So what we want to do is the colors of Texas. And so what I want to speak to is all the native influence on the Texas culinary landscape, the Mexican influence on the Texas culinary landscape, and how to tie that in, of course, through the African-American perspective. And of course, we're leading with Lucille. She still does all the heavy lifting for me.
Yeah, that's out.
Great granny's still giving.
Gave you 3 recipes right off the bat. You
Yes, she
didn't have to
did.
think about it.
Yes, she did. Bestsellers.
Edwin, all right, so the effort for the community is amazing. I think both of you, I think we also need to get Houston elevated in recognition as a top culinary destination for culinary achievement. I grew up where we grew our own food and love Lucille's menu, but would like to hear a few comments on why amazing foods like oxtail and other similar offerings never get the recognition they deserve. A lot of work and technique with amazing complexity and flavor. And I think that's the humble ingredient, right?
Yeah.
Humble ingredients always take, well, you guys are screwed. I don't know what I just did. Yeah, because I got one question in. I like it. But I think that goes back to the humble ingredients and like.
Yeah. I mean, it's humble ingredients. And then, of course, a big thing is always like the big thing is always the expectations, right? And the associations. Like certain ingredients have certain connotations with them. Oxtails you associate with soul food. Most people do. Now, when us as the chefs who purchase these products, and Sergio knows better than anybody else because he knows what we're paying, it's ridiculous. Like it's a premium it's a premium product, right?
Brisket should be cheap. Chicken wings should be cheap. Oxtail should be. Ain't none of that shit cheap.
Yeah, no.
You guys love it. It ain't cheap anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's really not, and we're gonna have to make some changes on it. But it's what we knew that when we first opened up Lucille's, like the way that I was going about getting people to come in, my approach was, we already know what the expectation is going to be. Mm-hmm. Black chef, zone restaurant, it's going to be soul food. Like that's what they're going to expect. So then what do? We trick them, we bait them in with these simple titles: pork and beans, meat and potatoes, fish fry, right?
Yeah.
Like, because that meets your expectation on what it's supposed to be. So you come in, and it's, you're open to coming to try it because it's not too adventurous for you or anything like that. And then we surprise you with what the product actually is. The pork and beans, a braised hind shake over a 3-bean ragu with the salsa agrodolce. The fish fry, a whole fried, whatever kind of fish it is. It could be black bass or drum or whatever it is, with the sweet basil mak chu and a nuck mom dressed salad. But I got you in because it was simple enough for that you to be comfortable. You're comfortable.
Yeah, I'm going to promise you this, but I'm going to over deliver here.
Right, and meet you where you're at. Because back when we opened it, like Lucille's going to its 12th year, and so this kind of changed like the culinary scene for African Americans in the city. Like Lucille's came doing a higher level, more diverse offering, and that's what kind of paved the way for Kitchen 713, who was killing it, for Indigo, who came up over and changed the world with the food that he was doing. And the other restaurants that have followed, So yeah, long story short, oxtails don't get the love because of the association of them being in soul food restaurants, and people don't really appreciate the technique that goes into soul food cooking. But if you really think about it, the real ingenuity, the real genius that comes into preparing anything comes from knowing how to manipulate those simple, humble ingredients. Cooking oxtails, yeah, it's braising, but that's technique. And you're forcing flavor into something that is hella resistant to taking it.
Doesn't want it.
It doesn't want it. I'd rather
They'll
not.
fight you back for like 7 hours on the deal, right?
Yeah.
They don't want it.
Yeah.
Fuck off with flavor.
Yeah. So I think that's the reason why.
Well, while we're sitting here, I want to thank you for being who you are. I want to thank you for being a leader in all of our communities. And teaching us all something new and sticking to tradition and teaching us about the past and showing us the future.
Wow.
I think it's a beautiful thing what you're doing, my friend. And all the things that you step your foot into, you put everything into.
I appreciate that, man.
Sometimes I want you to take a breath.
Yeah.
I worry about you.
I see the concern on your face sometimes.
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
see
Like,
it.
you
And
good?
I do appreciate that. Yeah.
Because everybody's just said that to me, like, you good?
Yeah.
Like, I'm good, let's
Yeah,
go!
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
oh, shit.
Yeah,
But,
no, I appreciate that. And what you just said was pretty profound because that's our tagline that we came up with, which is, what is it? Serving the past, feeding the future.
No, I
And
mean,
you
that's what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do.
And I
as a
didn't need to
company.
ever hear that to know that's what you're doing.
Yeah, that means a lot.
And you and your team are really fantastic at what you do, and it's inspiring. The missions that you put forth into the universe, right? Because, you know, you don't have to say, hey, we're going to get Cam out there, but you did. You know what? It'll happen because you did it.
Right.
You know, you set it in motion. And it takes people with a vision to do that and care. So I just want to thank you for today and for what you're doing and tonight, but just in life in general.
Well, I really appreciate you, and I appreciate the platform. Thank you.
So I said I'd get to more questions, but I lied. I'll try better next time. But you get somebody like Chris up here, and I just want to talk, you know, because I think we all need to hear these conversations about where we need to go in the future and understand it. And I cannot wait for our events at El Dorado. I can't wait for the music, you know, to be shown up there. I want to come meet at Rado. Because you said something to me about some of the products that you're putting in there, and the community is not really used to it. But without accessibility, you can't honor those things.
Right.
You won't learn.
Yeah.
Because you said that because when you started putting wine in there, you're like, well, the community here just doesn't really understand that. But without access,
Yeah.
there's not respect and knowledge for it.
Right.
And it's not that you're just doing it. You're doing it for a reason. You're putting things in there that you're helping your community. That's awesome.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Damn. So take a little bit from this guy, right? Just in your own communities, in your own life. You heard a lot tonight about what he's doing. And I always say, you know, just take a little bit from what you hear, and maybe you can instill it into your own life, make your life around you a better place, make the people around you better. So thank you for spending your Sunday night with us.
That was great, man. Thank you, brother.